everyone.
Hey.
A short one today.
Hmm.
Right, well, back to this beach, Cathy Bedy. How do you think it's going to go? What are your opinions on how it's going to go?
I know I'm gonna get annoyed. That's for sure. I don't know how they're gonna annoy me. Most probably she's gonna annoy me, and probably some lawyers that asks questions in a very stupid way.
See, I think there's just going to be more contradictory statements.
Yeah.
Things that she says that just doesn't make sense at all. When you look at if you add context to it, in a nutshell, what she would say would make sense, but if you look in context, it no sense at all. And I think there's going to be 20 gajillion more jump cuts.
Yeah. One thing that still annoys me is the thing she has on the shoulder. It literally looks like a seagull has shat on her.
Well, if that makes you feel better, it is.
Yeah.
Should we get on with it?
Yeah.
Right, let's go.
Well, if she's repeatedly stating that she's in pain, it's a pretty good indication she's in pain, isn't it?
When we look at pain and when I see kids in pain, Maya was never showed some of the symptoms that we see other kids in pain having.
Okay. Tell me what training you have in the identification of pediatric pain.
So on an ongoing basis in the unit, I work with kids that have chronic pain or that are having pain from certain procedures and or things that have happened to them. We work on coping skills, sometimes relaxation therapies, sometimes mindfulness. I see children in pain from surgeries, car accidents, traumas. We see kids in pain from cancer. We see kids in pain from just, again, a multitude of things that might be happening to them medically.
Okay. Well, are there any accepted medical symptomology, I guess it would be, about identifying pain in children? Any criteria, any objective standards, or is this all subjective?
I think, again, that what we look for at all children's, that when I am actually in front of a child, what I'm looking for, and they're saying that they're in pain, we're looking to see how they're dealing with their daily functioning. We're looking to see again some of the things that they might be showing us, because not all children are going to be talking to you. So we might be looking for signs that they're uncomfortable in the bed, they're moving around a lot, they're pulling on an area that they might be in pain, they're avoiding touch. We would look to see if they were crying.
Okay, well, Maya cried, did she not?
Maya cried, but not while she was reporting pain.
Okay. Are you saying that Maya was not really in pain?
I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, again, that Maya did not show the same type of pain symptoms that other children showed.
She showed exactly the same pain symptoms that other children showed at certain times, and at certain times she did not, correct?
I would say that Maya's pain was different than all the time from other children's pain.
How many complex regional pain syndrome children have you treated on a regular basis?
I think we've seen 2 or 3 in the pediatric intensive care unit.
Okay, and so complex regional pain syndrome is a little different than having a broken leg, is it not?
Oh, yes.
Complex regional pain syndrome involves a burning sensation under the skin, right? It's quite painful, is it not?
I've never had it.
Well, have you read anything on it?
I have read something on it.
Okay, so Maya's symptoms of pain were consistent with children who have complex regional pain syndrome, were they not?
Again, I'm sorry, I was shaking my head. Yes.
They were, right?
Yes.
Sorry. Okay. I mean, they weren't any different than the 2 or 3 you'd had before. Right.
Oh, they were different. Yes. No, they were different. The other kids that we had that had complex regional pain disorder were often bedridden for days at a time.
Well, so was Maya.
For the 95% of the time, Maya was up in her wheelchair, going to activities within the hospital.
Except on the days when she complained of extraordinary pain, right?
95% of the time that I saw Maya was up in her wheelchair, and the times that she would report extraordinary pain would be when she was prompted by her mother.
Prompted by her mother.
Excuse me.
Are you finished?
Are you finished with your answer?
Prompted by her mother, or if somebody asked her if she was having pain. And sometimes that was in the setting of being down in the child life department has a room, an activity center down on the 2nd floor. So I do know that there were a couple of, maybe it was the guardian ad litem or the CPIs that met her down there. And while they were watching her have these activities, she was reporting her pain as being a 10.
Okay. Is it true that Ms. Kowalski wanted to record the phone calls?
Yes.
With you?
Yes.
But that you objected?
I did.
Why would you object to that?
So I think that all children's, we have a policy not to be recorded. And I was told by risk management that we weren't agreeing to be recorded in those phone calls.
There's a second volume, so they just need to cue it up.
Did you ever have any discussions with anyone from risk management to the effect that the Kowalski case, the Maya Kowalski case, was, and you can use whatever term you want, thorny or difficult or required a focus, was special in some way?
Yes.
And tell me about those conversations.
I can't tell you specifics. I can tell you that that there were definitely discussions that this was different than any other case because of the level of legal involvement.
Elaborate, please.
Usually, in cases that I deal with on a day in and day out basis in the PICU, when you have child abuse cases, the patients themselves do not have like a private attorney. Typically, we don't have patients that stay for as long as Maya does and go through as many different legal proceedings as this case did. Typically, we don't look at 3 or 4 different discharge dates for a patient. that we have up in the PICU.
Explain about the discharge dates.
So initially, there was a discussion to try to get Maya to Nemours once she had been sheltered. And case management, and I worked on that discharge plan, working with Nemours to get them the recommendations they were going to need, or getting them the records, I'm sorry.
And what happened there?
When I called Mom said that there was going to be a discussion with her attorney later that day. I called her back and she said she couldn't consent or not consent to the discharge to Nemours.
And the reason that she gave was because the discharge to Nemours was with a psychiatric diagnosis, correct?
I don't know that she gave me that information. I think she said that she couldn't. I think all she said to me was she couldn't agree or disagree, or couldn't consent or not consent to the discharge.
Well, did you ever learn that the reason no hospital would accept Maya was because ACH decided to keep psychiatric diagnoses in her record, and no hospital would accept a child with these psychiatric issues, alleged psychiatric issues?
Actually, Nemours was willing to accept Maya.
On what basis?
We could have transferred Maya that day that I talked to Mom, and I don't remember the day, but Mom wouldn't consent or not consent. We also had discussions with, I think it was Kennedy Krieger, who suggested another program, and I can't remember the name of that program.
If the mom signed off, strike it. Did you ever see any of the papers involving the sign-off that the parents were required to make in order to transfer the child?
I don't know what you're asking me.
All right. There's a recording of a conversation between you and Beata about the potential transfer of Maya to Nemours. You didn't tell her, or wouldn't tell her, what program she would be transferring into. And Maya and Beata said they would only transfer if it was into a CRPS program. Do you remember that conversation?
I don't know what you mean by a recording.
A phone call that was recorded between you two.
I don't. So, give me your question again.
Did you have a conversation with Maya?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, with Mom.
With Mom. Did you have a conversation with Beata on November 3rd, 2016, where there was a discussion about the potential transfer of Maya to Nemours?
Yes, I think I did.
And was the discussion centered on the type of program that Maya would be transferred into?
We were transferring, I think that in all actuality, she was going to an inpatient treatment program at Nemours that would focus on cognitive behavioral therapy, pain management therapy, and PT and OT therapy. A
psychiatric program, in other words. They weren't there to treat CRPS. They were there to convince her she didn't have CRPS, right?
Actually, no.
Okay.
It was supposed to be part of CPRS treatment, which would work on cognitive behavioral therapy along with pain management, and then PT and OT therapy, and that was the program at Nemours.
It wasn't a complex regional pain syndrome program, was it?
I don't know. It was a Nemours patient or Nemours program, and we attempted, yeah.
Okay, but whatever was represented to Mrs. Kowalski she refused to have her child committed to that program, right?
Yes. Well, she said she couldn't consent or not consent.
Okay. And then what happened after that?
Maya stayed at All Children's. We continued to look for, we were directed by DCF to continue to look for programs.
Well, so did you ever receive any notification, or was there any discussion that included you that Maya was not getting better, and that CRPS was present, thus the allegations against Beata, the child abuse allegations, needed to be dropped?
No one ever said that to me. And in fact, we noted on several occasions where Maya was moving her legs, moving her hands without any pain. Maya was engaging in activities such as foosball, cutting out and making crafts in the craft room. She was out playing the piano downstairs and often moved herself around the hospital. It was only after we gave that information to DCF that Maya then decided or quit moving herself around the hospital for a few days. It was noted in some of the music therapy and in PT therapy that she was able to move her feet and her hands and didn't complain of any pain while she was doing that. On occasion, when I would be in the room with Maya, Maya would be showing me her Shopkins, her prayer cards, and she was moving herself in the wheelchair, laughing, giggling, playing. She would be putting on her makeup, wanted to put makeup on me, wanted to put makeup on some of the nurses. And all during those times, there was no pain. And there were, Maya was very engaging, working really hard with the staff.
So you think, so we understand your testimony, that Maya was happy and thriving in the hospital?
There were many days that we saw Maya doing really well in the hospital and working with the therapists that were involved with her, yes.
And you say, I just left Maya's room. She told me she is furious, angry, and in pain. She told me she can't talk or trust anyone, and she knows there is court on Monday, and it's all lies. Maya told me if I have a problem, I need to talk to her attorney.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So she's telling you there, she's furious, angry, and in pain. Does that sound to you like she's thriving?
Actually, there were very few days that we saw her like this. And this was only after either a visit or a conversation with somebody on the phone.
Uh-huh. So you're blaming it on who this time?
I'm not blaming it on anybody.
Did you listen in to her conversations with her attorney?
No.
Did you listen in on conversations when she was trying to talk to the judge in court?
No, I don't think so. Mm-mm.
So if Maya testifies that the reason she was uncomfortable with testifying over the phone and wanted to come into court was that she was terrified of you sitting next to her and what you would do to her, she'd be wrong?
Yes.
Okay. She just made that up, that you were sitting next to her during her court appearances.
I don't know that I was sitting next to her. I think she was with her attorney at those times.
Were you in the room?
I don't know. I don't remember being in the rooms.
Did you require Attorney Kelly to leave the door cracked while he was meeting with her?
We may have.
Why did you want to leave the door cracked while Maya was trying to consult with her attorney?
We were not in the room with her, but there had been an episode where Maya said she fell out of her wheelchair and was on the floor for hours. So at that point, it was discussed with risk management, and risk management wanted the door left open so that we could make sure to monitor the patient.
Really? So you think the attorney was going to let his client lay all over the floor and not help her. So you guys had to be there right beside her or listen in. Strike that. So the purpose of cracking the door and being right there next to it, because if, right, you were standing right next to the cracked door.
No.
Then, so you were going to be able to hear it by Maya shouting and screaming down the hall?
The door was left open so that the nurses could observe and make sure, because as they were walking by, it was not me observing. This was the nurses observing that were on the unit.
Okay, so, and the theory was that while Maya was in the room with her attorney, there was still a chance she would fall out of the bed and her attorney would not ask for help or otherwise assist his client lying there on the floor. So you guys had to be able to look in. Is that the theory? Was that the theory here?
So risk management, after that happened, wanted to make sure that the door was left open at all times so that there was site to site so we could make sure that Maya was safe, yes.
Why would it be a big deal that she fell on the floor?
I never said that Maya could move around freely. I said that we watched her move around with her legs. What Maya could and couldn't do was not my decision or making. I saw Maya move her legs. I saw Maya move her arms. I saw Maya move her feet.
All right, so the theory then was that because Maya said she fell out of a chair once, you guys had to leave the door open or cracked so that you could see her if she fell out of the chair, right?
That's the direction that we got from risk, yes.
Okay. And so is it explained to you that it was felt that the attorney would not be able or willing to help his own client if she did fall out of her chair with him there?
I can only speak to you what our direction was given, and that is that we had to leave the door open.
So it came down from risk management that Maya would not have, it was necessary to keep the door cracked, even when Maya was trying to consult with her own attorney.
Yes.
Did you ever confiscate a plastic bag filled with wafers and what? The host, holy water, prayer book. What else was in there? Did you ever confiscate that?
No.
You never took those away or prevented her from having those?
Never.
Okay. Was Maya allowed to see her priest?
That would have been up to the DCF order. We did have Father Tom that came and visited her when he was there on the weekends.
Okay. Let me show you what we've marked as 13. Can you identify this?
It sounds like it's a telephone conversation.
Okay. Had you ever seen this before?
No.
Okay. Who produced it? Do you know?
No.
Were you aware that on this date that's being described here, January 6, 2017, that Maya was tired and spirits low and that Dr. Hannah had told her that she was getting worse?
She did tell me that, yes.
Okay. Did you ever speak with Dr. Hannah?
No.
Why is it that JHACH chose not to discuss Maya Kowalski, or for that matter, Beata Kowalski, with any of the ongoing treating physicians?
That would be out of my scope of responsibility.
Were you involved in efforts to keep Dr. Hannah off the premises?
That would be out of my scope of responsibility.
Was DCF also monitoring the call?
Sometimes they were monitoring the calls.
Why, if DCF was already monitoring, did you keep being there as well?
In the beginning, DCF monitored those calls, and then those calls we were doing the monitoring. So because DCF and the Guardian ad litem's office said they couldn't do those calls. So in order to facilitate the calls to make sure that Maya was getting them, we agreed to do that. I even came in on a couple of Saturdays to make sure that those calls happened.
Okay, but why did you have to be on calls when DCF was already on the calls?
There was a time that DCF wasn't going to be on those calls anymore, and we agreed so that Maya could get those calls with Mom.
And that's not really my question. My question is, during the period of time while DCF was still doing the calls, why was it necessary for you also to be on the calls? Because they were already being monitored by DCF.
The calls for the calls that DCF did, all I did, DCF would call my phone, and then I would take the phone in there and put it on speakerphone.
But why did you have to listen in too?
That's what DCF asked us to do.
Did you ever take Maya into the chapel?
No.
Did you ever sit Maya on your lap?
Whenever they had the last court hearing, or it was right before Christmas, and Maya thought she was going home. I was called by Charlotte to tell, and Charlotte asked me to go in and tell Maya that Maya wasn't going to be able to be going home for Christmas. Maya became very upset, started crying.
I'm just asking you whether you put Maya on your lap.
She asked then to sit on my lap.
Oh, so Maya asked you for permission to sit on your lap? It wasn't my idea? Strike it. So you're contending that this wasn't your idea, that it was Maya's idea that she sit on your lap. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
All right. And did you kiss Maya?
I don't think so.
Were you hugging Maya?
I think that we provide comfort to a lot of kids. So probably why she was sitting on my lap, I'm sure I did hug her.
Who gave you permission to touch the child in this manner?
We provide a lot of comfort to kids.
Now my question, who gave you permission to be this intimate with that child?
So Maya asked.
She's 11. What adult, either Maya's mother or Maya's father, the only two people, not the state and not the hospital, who gave you permission to be intimate with that child?
So currently at that time, DCF had custody of the child, and the case manager on several occasions asked that we provide comfort to Maya.
And in your view, comfort included what?
I talked with Maya. She held my hand. I would hold her hand. She asked me to come in and pray with her.
I guess your answer is no one with any authority to permit you to be that intimate with their child gave you permission to do so.
So I do think a couple of times that Mr. Kowalski and I discussed the fact that I provided comfort to Maya.
Was Mr. Kowalski complimenting you about it, or were you telling him that you were providing comfort?
I can't tell you how the conversation happened, but I can tell you that Mr. Kowalski thanked me.
So he's being polite. So by thanking you for comforting his child, is it your interpretation that that meant he believed it was okay for you to have the child on your lap and be able to hug her and kiss her.
Again, I don't think that I kissed her.
Are you sure you didn't kiss her?
Pretty sure.
So if Maya specifically remembers you kissing her and telling her it was going to be okay, that's just another thing that she made up.
Typically, I don't think I would tell any of the kids that were in this situation that they're in that everything's going to be okay. I think that we would talk about things look really bad right now, and I'm working more to help Maya with what her thoughts are, not with that's not usually in the repertoire of words that we would have used with her.
Are you a member of the National Association of Social Workers?
Yes.
Are you familiar with their code of ethics?
Yes.
Let me show you what we'll mark, and unfortunately it's highlighted, but I'm going to mark it as 14, and we'll swap out any stapler too, or pen. Let me ask you about section 1.10. Is that, does it appear to you to be the code of ethics for, what's your organization called?
National Association of Social Workers.
Does it appear to be your code of ethics?
Could be, yes.
And is there a specific section there about social worker responsibilities regarding physical touching of the patient?
Yes, there is.
And is that section 1.10?
Yes, it is.
Could you read it to the jury, please?
Social workers should not engage in physical contact with clients when there is a possibility of psychological harm to the client as a result of the contact, such as cradling or caressing. Social workers who engage in appropriate physical contact with clients are responsible for setting clear, appropriate, and culturally sensitive boundaries that govern such physical contact.
You had no specific authority to touch that child in that manner, did you?
I was asked by the case manager to provide comfort to her, and Maya asked if she could sit in my lap.
Well, a child can't give consent to be abused or touched, can they?
It's certainly at no point did I touch Maya in any way that was sexually related.
Okay. Would you agree with me that a child cannot give consent?
Children ask for comfort and the kind of medical setting that we work in at all times. We often sit with kids and hold their hands or hold them. I mean, especially when it comes to kids under the age of 10 to 12.
There's a big difference between a kid on your lap with your arms around them and holding a child's hand when they're scared, isn't there?
Maya was sobbing that night because she couldn't go home.
Let me show you Exhibit 15. For the record, it's an email from Cathy Bedy dated Monday, November 7th, 2016, regarding MK. It's to Audrey Peterson. You recognize this?
Mm-hmm. I recognize the people on it, yes.
All right, and so who's Audrey Peterson?
She was the case manager for the 7th floor.
Okay. Okay, and it says, I'll call you later with massive update. Describe for me what the massive update was.
I have no idea without going back and taking a look at my notes from that day. So I guess I didn't have a chance to talk to Audrey that day, so I emailed her the next day. Said there was no update available as the parents will not consent or decline the placement at Nemours. There is a hearing today and Thursday that will clear up the matter.
That's a massive update?
Yes, because we were looking at discharge, and we were looking to get Maya on to some kind of physical therapy. So for us, yes, that whenever there's not going to be a discharge, that's a big update for us.
That.
Right. I'm gonna have to pause it there.
Wow.
There is a fucking lot with this woman, and I'm angry. I'm really angry. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? So, I believe the first bit about the question regarding training, about identifying pain, I think we paused that right at the end, or that was included at the end of part 1. But I think I must have just blocked it out because she doesn't reference any training she had in identifying pain in children. Like, what are the markers to identify pain? She only referenced seeing kids in pain.
Yeah.
And when you add that with the fact that they've only had 2 or 3, not specifying if the 2 or 3 include Maya. If it includes Maya, that means there was 1 or 2 other kids that she's seen at Johns Hopkins with the same condition as Maya.
Yeah.
We don't know if that's before Maya or after Maya. Either. So I don't... To me, it's... The thing that really, really gets under my skin, and it's a quick way for me to just not trust anything you're fucking saying at all, is by avoiding to answer the question. Granted, she's answering the question, but she's saying about her experience. Cool. I've been to quite a few pubs, and I've drunk, quite a bit of wine in my time. That means I'm a wine expert. That means I could be classed as an alcoholic, even though I haven't drunken anything in years. According to her fucking logic. Like, this means I can do a training. Because I've worked in an office and I've done first aid training, that means I can I can say, yes, I can perform, I'm a doctor now. I'm a doctor. And even that would class as more experience than what she's fucking had. She's going on what she's seen.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of birds. This means we're veterinarians. Like, what the fuck? This woman is high as a kite.
Oh yeah.
And I know this sounds ridiculous, my comparisons, but that's how ridiculous it is for me when I see her going, well, I've seen kids in pain. And then, sorry to take over on this bit, but when she says, one of the identifiers that she has noted when kids are in pain, that they move around a lot when in pain, but apparently when Maya does it, she's faking.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
They said that she was thrashing around. That if she was actually in pain, she wouldn't be doing that. What? Ah!
Yeah. Also, that she said something there that I really didn't get. Basically, while pulling
in certain areas that hurt.
Yeah. You don't do that.
This is a weird thing. The only thing that I can think in regards to pulling is when boys realise that they have a penis. That's the only thing I've ever noted where they're pulling. In other, so for example, when I was a kid, you guys can't see it, but you can see it. You see my little finger, how they're different shapes on the nail, right? This finger got slammed into a door that was spring. So it whipped back and it was a heavy fucking door. And I remember I had pain when it was just very painful. I just remember it being painful and I didn't want anyone to touch it. And then there was my knee when I cut my knee open on the thing. That was painful. Like I didn't want anyone to touch it. I most certainly was not pulling on it. when I fully dislocated my ankle. So the joint was in front, like the bone from my ankle was in front of the joint for it. I didn't want anyone to touch it. That was when I think I mentioned this before, where they'd put the I don't think it was gas, I don't know what it was, but they put a mask over my face, and I remember pulling the back out as I was screaming and crying, and they got annoyed at me for that. And literally all they had done is put ice on it. They hadn't tried to numb it or anything. They'd just put ice on it. And I remember I was kicking at them because I didn't want them to touch my foot because it was hurting. Like, and they had to pull my foot and put it back into place. Like, it's just... I wouldn't want I wouldn't want anyone, and this is all when I was a kid, I wouldn't want anyone to touch where I'm being hurt.
No.
So I don't even know what she's on about.
Yeah, no. No.
It just doesn't make sense.
Then she was talking about against herself, because first it sounded like on her that, but Maya did not have CRPS, but Maya had CRPS.
Yeah.
Was that... Where are you going with it?
You're not stating that she doesn't have CRPS. No. Well, what? She either has it or she doesn't. You're not trained to say whether she does or doesn't.
Then was a funny thing about when she did a little jab at Beata there, because apparently Maya only was in
Only
pain.
showed pain when prompted by the mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't allowed there.
Yeah.
So.
And then they don't even mention that apparently, according to a different hospital staff member, no wait, not even hospital, to Jack, he was being told by the hospital that Maya would only show pain when he was around. But there was no mention of that from Bedy.
No.
So, like, what? It seems very clear that she had a problem with Beata. She had no issue with Jack. I think she didn't see Jack as a problem. She saw Beata as a problem.
Yeah. But also the thing that that Maya was moving around like a normal child.
Yeah, 95% of the time.
Playing football, laughing, etc. But like, why haven't they showed those videos then?
Well, yeah. Also, let's not forget as well. When you have a chronic illness, like or something that's really painful, let's say for instance cancer, you can't have any good days. No. You have to be bedridden and just hating life apparently when you're in pain. It's not as if she's been dealing with it for over a year and has got coping mechanisms. Also, if they'd even fucking spoken to the parents, this shows how bad it was, because they didn't even speak to the parents. I mean, there's no reference to it in their notes, so if they had got rid of it, they would have noted that a record had been deleted, so they would have to explain that, but that's not been the case. So they've not noted it, so the only thing I can reference to that is that they didn't talk to the parents about how Maya represents her pain. Because Maya is a lot like Beata, which is, from what I've seen from other, when I lived with a Polish couple, they don't show pain. They could be in a shit ton of pain and hating their day. They still have a smile on their face and they get about with their day because shit moves on.
Yeah.
They can't wallow. They don't have the time. They don't have the resources. They need to keep going. And that's, from what I've seen, and I could be 100% wrong, that's what I've seen from a lot of Eastern European people. They don't have the time to wallow. They'll just put it away, get on. or they'll say about it, get on with it, because they got shit to do, and it seems like that is ingrained in them, and that's what it seems like it was with Maya, that she was a lot like Beata. I mean, Jack even says that she's a lot like Beata.
Yeah.
If they had bothered to speak to the parents at all, I mean, we know that they were basically trying to kidnap Maya from day one, because there's notes reflecting it.
Yeah.
There's notes that look very clearly different, and then it was also mentioned that the notes that they had were different, that they had been altered, that things had been added. Remember when I was like, something about this doesn't look right, it looks like it's been added later.
No.
And then, bish bash bosh, it had.
One thing though,
Yeah.
could you go back to, I don't have the timestamp, but it says 168.8 on the transcripts notes there.
168 what?
168,
This?
could be earlier.
What is it in reference to?
There was something that made her look towards the lawyer.
Because it cuts. Are you sure it's not 163? Because it's not that bit. Like this, I know what you're on about. She blatantly looks at her attorney like, do I have to answer?
Yeah. Maybe it was 18.
What?
I don't know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
do you want us to, did you know the time but not what it was in reference to?
No, I was just curious what it was. Anyways, let me talk to Ristit.
We can see if we see it again. I mean, the reason why I don't have it noted down, there was a lot in this. There.
Yeah.
Did you ever see any of the paperwork involving the sign-off that the parents were required to make in order to transfer the child? So, it seems very much like what they were trying to do, which is what Beata said they were trying to do before. What she had said in her notes and shit, I believe, is that they were trying to take Maya and basically disappear her into the system.
Yeah.
Because if you need parental consent to transfer a child, the only way to do that without having the parents involved is stripping them of their parental rights, which is why they were going through the court system.
Yeah.
They were literally, it's what... There's just so much shit in this that I couldn't write it all down. I was already struggling with like the first two, and it was just like, fuck me. Like there's so you've got a lot more notes, so I'll let you take the helm.
Nice. I noted her glaring at her, but I completely forgot what the question was, and it was.
Yeah, I just mean in general, because you have a lot more notes in this than I do.
Yeah, but after that, it is about the attorney.
Yep.
Well, like, okay, apparently she was not listening, but she clearly stood at the door with the door open.
Yeah.
And clearly lying about the door as well. And it made it. It really sounded so bad, even coming from her.
So, one thing to note, which I find really quite interesting, is it seems like Mr. Anderson, so the Kowalski attorney, is getting pissed off.
Oh yeah.
So there's a note that Maya said about that she's furious. I kind of want to make sure that we see that. I'll note it later. Where she's furious, angry, and in pain. Does that sound to you like she's thriving? Actually, there were very few days that we saw her like this. This was only after either a visit or a conversation with somebody on the phone. Question, so you're blaming it on who this time?
Yeah.
I'm not blaming it on anybody. Well, yes, you actually are.
Yeah.
You actually are. That's the problem. You are.
I literally wrote that as the last note we're getting there for us later, but he literally says she tries to blame everyone except herself.
Well, this is the thing. This is why I'm fairly certain what Maya was saying about some of the things that Cathy said to her about, I can be your new mommy, you can come live with me, I'll take care of you. And the mysterious unknown man in a white hospital thing with a gift for Maya.
Yeah.
No one knows who he was. Bearing in mind she was in the custody of DCF, so every visitation, every single one of them should have been, and probably was, as much as the hospital wanted, noted.
Yeah.
The only one that would have influence on over whether it was noted would be someone in Cathy Bedy's position who was, for some reason, following this child around
On every floor.
which is not a standard business process. So it literally says to me that she was trying, like, the person who came into Maya's room possibly was Cathy Bedy's husband. I mean, we have no evidence to say that it wasn't. They've refused to identify who it was, unless it's said on who it was later on. Then, I'll eat my words. But at this point, with how she was behaving, we'll get on to the absolute horse shit that she was spewing later on, blaming Maya for wanting to sit on Cathy Bedy's lap. Fuck off, woman. Like, the entire thing of it, I reckon Cathy Bedy saw her and was like, I want that child.
Yeah. Also, the fact that she blamed Maya for that kind of sounds like
What a predator does to their victim. Yeah. Well, this is the thing as well. I would really like to know because they mentioned about the social worker's code of ethics or code of conduct or whatever it was. Is there something in there that says if you report child abuse, you cannot be part of the case because of clear bias?
Yeah.
That makes me wonder if we were to see witness testimony from Debbie Hansen or Elaine Brown, the two people that put in the reports, who work on the same team as Cathy Bedy, would they dob her out and say that she told us to report it?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if it were... So, the reason why I'm saying this, I'm not pulling it from my caboose, right? The reason why I'm suggesting that is because some of the things that she said in this one in particular, like saying that Maya would only show that she was in pain when prompted by the mother.
Yeah.
Yada was only allowed around Maya in the first 3 days.
Yeah.
Well, within the first week, not even that. Right? Because they very quickly banned her from seeing Maya.
Yeah.
In fact, it was the first day that Maya was there that they were raising child abuse concerns.
Yeah.
So, in the first 3 days, Cathy Bedy would have had to have witnessed seeing Beata prompt Maya to show that she was in pain. We'll ignore the fact that it seems like afterwards she was only there when the dad wasn't there.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Because if there's suspected child abuse, it's you have an abuser. You either have two abusers. If it's proven that there is child abuse or abuse in general, you have two abusers, one abuser and one enabler, or it doesn't exist, right? They wouldn't have known which one Jack was.
No.
They didn't even know that Beata was abusing her children. They just speculated it.
Yeah.
So then why would you... To have it so she doesn't... She either has a serious problem with Beata, or she wasn't around Jack enough to see that Maya was showing that she was in pain to him. So she would have mentioned it, but she didn't mention it, which means she wasn't around. So why wouldn't you be around when a possible abuser or an enabler of abuse would be in the same room as the victim? Why would you? What? That doesn't make sense.
No, it does not.
And then again, which you've mentioned several times previously, why was Kyle left in the house with an abuser? Left alone in the house.
Yeah.
Because it's presumed that Beata was with Kyle when Jack was seeing Maya.
Yeah. Yeah, it does not add up.
No, it doesn't.
Then we have her lying about the confiscated church items.
Well, no, we also have with the attorney as well.
Yeah.
So the weird thing with that is the absolute mental gymnastics she was doing to make it make sense.
Yeah.
Like, an attorney and Maya are both lying when they said that they saw Cathy Bedy stood outside the room.
Yeah.
That might explain why they don't have hallway footage, because they would have caught all of that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, like...
It wasn't me walking past the room, it was the nurses. In my mind, I would have asked the question, is there a nurse on that floor, in particular, that looks remarkably like you, that doesn't wear the hospital uniform that nurses are required to wear? Well, that's the only other logical explanation. It wasn't me, I didn't do it. But you have all of these people saying that you did do it and that it was you. They're all lying. It's like Amber Heard. Everyone else is lying but me. I'm telling the truth.
I'm also fascinated over the disappearance of video surveillance, that they seen photos that they was basically every corner it was a camera, but oops, not there.
Well, you know the picture of the two religious women killing the thing. I reckon they printed that off so then they would say, "Don't let them in."
Yeah.
To me, the fact that I've said this before, the fact that they knew that Beata was going to at least put in a complaint. Any place that you work, if it has CCTV footage, yes, it does get recorded over, but if there's an incident reported, so normally this footage, it's kept off-site, right? You may be able to see it live on, there, but you can't pause it or do anything to get rid of it or to hide it or whatever. You have to put in a request for it. So it would make me wonder, one, did they put in that request to get rid of it? Or to even keep it, more so, because it would just get recorded over. But if there's an incident, you put in that request, it has to go in the same day. Has to. And it's, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, yeah, we'll have a picture of these people. but we won't have any of the footage, even though it shows that there's 2 systems in play.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the magical trick of disappearance.
Oh yeah. So what were you saying about her the stuff being taken?
Oh yeah, that she was like, no, we didn't confiscate the bag of religious items. Then it comes to another one.
No. You noted it. What was?
Yeah, but previously been the church said that their stuff got confiscated by the Bedy, but she said no, that did not happen.
Well, that's also to add to the evidence that Cathy Bedy is a lying bitch. Jack was in her office once and saw the dress that he bought for Maya in Cathy Bedy's office.
Yeah.
He saw it with his own eyes.
Yeah.
So that would dictate that. I mean, wasn't there something that he was told by Cathy that they couldn't bring in outside garments or something?
Yeah.
Like he had given it to Maya, hadn't he? Or he'd given it to one of the nurses, and they said that they would make sure it get to Maya. Yeah. And then he asked Maya about it, and she wasn't even told about it.
No.
And when he asked Cathy Bedy, she said, "Oh, we can't allow garments from outside to come in," or some bullshit excuse.
Yeah.
And then he saw it in her office.
Yeah.
No. She said that she had no idea what he was talking about, and then he saw it in her office.
Yeah.
And then when he asked her about it, that's when she said about the garment thing. I'm pretty sure. I could be manufacturing something in my mind. Maybe, possibly, but I don't think I am.
Didn't she give her that Maya later on as a gift from herself?
No.
She didn't?
No.
Okay.
There was other stuff that Beata had. That Jack. There was other things that was given to her that Cathy claimed that she had given to her. I think everything that came from Beata was either not given to Maya and not mentioned about, or she was told about it but said because of hospital policies she can't have it.
Yeah.
Oopsie doopsie. Essentially, Cathy Bedy, who should know much better, and should know these signs or have had training on parental alienation, should know that what she was doing was parental alienation.
Yeah.
There's just this. Oh, I mean, we're not even through all of the notes. You keep going. You keep going.
I have an interesting observation also at 19418. 19418.
It wouldn't have been 19418.
No.
Well, 19418. It's not there.
No.
Are you on about this?
Most probably. Or is it 19? Sometimes when I write, it's very difficult to see.
Well, there was a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
This was right at the end. I don't think it was that.
No.
Oh, 194. Why did I... Oh, yeah. I'm fairly certain you mentioned it when we were... I think it was this. Wasn't it? She did it quite a few times, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, she shakes and...
There. I mean, she could just be looking up off to the side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then we also had the call rules that she said she changed it twice or 3 times about it.
I think it might have been about this. The side look.
Mm.
Did she change the rules? What?
Yeah, she was lying about the call rules, because first she said one thing, then she said another thing, that it was the DCF rules, and they called me to call her to give phones, etc.
They called Bedy to give the phone to Maya.
Mm.
Yeah. Were there efforts to keep Dr. Hannah off the premises?
Mm.
It's very quick, and then there's a cut.
Yeah.
So, it to me, like, I have a note about Bedy listening to Maya's calls. We know that she listens to Maya's calls because if you watch the Netflix documentary about it, they've got the phone calls in there.
Yeah.
And literally, you can hear Cathy Bedy in the room, sat next to her. Maya said Cathy's, Beata asked, "Are you there on your own?" "No." "Who's there with you?" I think she says Miss Bedy.
Mm.
Or Cathy. Like, one of the two.
Mm.
She's like, okay. Clearly frustrated. So she wants uninterrupted time with her daughter. That's not hard. I don't understand why. So, if DCF were observing, like they asked here, if DCF were monitoring the calls, she didn't need to be there.
No.
They were monitoring the calls.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the weird thing is that Bedy would come in on her days off. Why? There's a social worker there.
Yeah.
That to me, along with other stuff that will be mentioned, it sounds like she was obsessed with Maya.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It doesn't make sense.
Oh, but she wanted Maya to become her child. That's clearly what's going on there. That's, yeah. And I also wrote, what comes next, that's started to get me on my nerves. Yeah.
There was. Hang on. There's a bit where I said she avoided answering the question.
Mm.
For some reason, I put that she blamed Maya. I'm trying to see where it was. So in order to facilitate the calls to make sure that Maya was getting them, we agreed to do that. I even came in on a couple of Saturdays to make sure that those calls happened. But that's not the. You see what I mean? she knows why she was there. And it's like, I do wonder if this is what really pissed Anderson off, her behaviour, with her inappropriate behaviour.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't... so far in the 10 days, I had not seen the Kowalski attorney Anderson get this pissed off.
No.
And now we're coming up to the church. Well, the chapel.
Oh, yeah. When she's blame Maya.
Yep.
Yeah.
When I think of comforting a child that I don't know, no familial connection with, they're not like a friend's kid or anything. Like, there's no connection. I don't think, oh yes, I'm gonna hug this. I'm gonna put this child in my lap. Even if she asks, even if this kid asks, no, sorry, we can't do. Here, I'm gonna see if I can get something arranged so you can speak to your church pastor or whatever.
Yeah.
Pastor. Is it pastor or pastor?
Pastor.
So I think pastor, but then I think of, just seeing a penny pastor in a church robe.
For some reason, I got Swedish chef in my
And then
head.
the pews are all filled with different types of pasta.
Mm.
And there's just a lasagna sheet in the background.
Yeah.
Weird things. Anyway, I don't... It's the fact that Cathy Bedy knew. She knew what she was doing. And then to blame it on a child. It's like, of course she's... Even if Maya did ask, it's your responsibility as the adult to put boundaries in place. What makes it worse is that she knows that she's not meant to be doing this.
Yeah.
There's no excuse not to. Unless this is standard practice for her, that she is inappropriate with every child that she has a case with, which I would be looking into.
Yeah, but...
If I worked for the state, I'd be looking into her and Johns Hopkins. But her specifically on inappropriate behaviours towards minors.
Then also she said that, but DCF allowed me. Then she said, but Jack, I don't remember, she, like I wrote, she can't tell how the conversation with Jack went about her way of comforting Maya. And she can't tell how the conversation went because that did not happen. That conversation did not happen.
No, it's the fact that she couldn't remember the conversation, but she can remember Jack thanking her for comforting his child. Conversation might have happened, but if someone were to say to me, like, so if we had the same, if we had a child and they were in hospital, and like not a social worker but like a nurse or a doctor said, we provide comfort and things, I would not think that a stranger is going to put my child in their lap, cradle them, cuddle them, kiss them on the forehead or whatever. That's not what I think that someone who is in a professional capacity would provide comfort. Comfort is like, everything's going to be okay. Alright? And like, the max touching would be passing on the back or like, something like, passing a hand. That's it. That's max. You don't fucking cradle a random person's child.
No.
You creepy bitch. No.
Oh, yeah.
You just don't do that. What makes it worse is that she knows. I can't even get over that. She knows she's not meant to do that.
You know what she just reminded me of? No, that she played rewatching
Yeah, don't say that. Yeah.
Yeah, the sheep that tries to steal the kids.
I mean, it's in it. So I watch a sheep farmer. not gonna say the name. I mean, if you ask for it, I will say it in the comments. Yeah, so she does sheep herding, and she's a sheep farmer, so there's lambing seasons and stuff. And when a female sheep pregnant is close to giving birth, and there's a little lamb just been born, they'll try and steal the lamb because hormones are right, and they're like, that's my baby. Unfortunately for this sheep farmer, it's been near enough every lamb so far that has tried to be stolen by some random sheep.
Okay.
I mean, there was like 4 of them on the most recent video that she did. There was like 4 of them through the fence, like, my child. And the mom's, the actual mom is there like, what?
What's going on?
I don't think it was the latest one. Was it the one before that? It might have been the one before that. But anyway, latest as to when we're recording this, which you don't know, so haha. But I don't know. I think Cathy Bedy was obsessed with Maya.
Oh yeah. It's like a sheep that tries to steal a sheep lamb.
No, but theirs is hormonal. They literally see that lamb is like, oh, that's my lamb, because they're close to getting birth. She's too old to have kids.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if she's not, she's been very unfortunately not blessed in the genetics department with the looks. But it's there's something not right with there's something nefarious, and the fact that it's not on paperwork, I can only speculate on it, and that's what's really driving me insane is the fact that she's avoiding answering questions.
Yeah.
Which is the. If you want to send me on a tangent, let me ask you a question and then don't answer it, and then don't answer it when I ask you again. Like, I have no patience for that shit. I will have, but like, I mean, I will have some patience. You know, if I ask a question and I get a completely different answer. But if it happens like 2 or 3 times, my brain's like, they're hiding something. Something's being amiss. They're trying to bamboozle me, and I'm not. They think I'm stupid. That's what it is. They think I'm stupid. Like, paranoia just goes off the fucking scales. But I don't. This whole thing. Like the fact that they mentioned an email. Huge development. And it was about Nemours.
Yeah.
Why is that a huge development? To me, that would be terrible news. Parents won't sign off on having their child transferred to Nemours.
Yeah.
To me, that's not a huge development. That's not something to be celebrated or amplified. It's sad because, you know, these parents won't get their kids help. But I mean, the fact that they pussyfooted around the reasons why Beata, and I'm hoping it gets mentioned in the next one. But I'm hoping that they mention why they said that they wouldn't take Maya. Like they mentioned the psychological diagnoses being attached, but they've not said exactly what those psychological diagnoses are.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Do you have anything to add before we go?
No.
Cathy Bedy is a bitch.
She's a seagull.
No, even seagulls are better than her. That's saying something.
Oh yeah.
Because don't the seagulls basically attack other birds' nests?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the good bird's nest.
Yeah. I mean, last year it was my first time seeing baby seagulls.
Yeah.
And these birds are fucking resilient.
Oh yeah.
They fell off a roof and were just on the ground. And it was funny because this bird just looked like they had no idea what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
And the parent seagulls, being as shit as they are, they build their nests they build it on flat areas.
Yeah.
So the birds, the baby birds, because they're so stupid, will just walk like anywhere. And they literally, how many was it? Well, at least 3, right?
Yeah.
There was one there, and you can't see what I'm pointing at. There was one there, one right outside of our apartment, and wasn't there 2 from that nest right next to us?
Yeah.
So 4, at least 4. And bear in mind, I don't think any of them made it, because, I mean, Pumpkin tried to go for one, our cat.
Yeah.
That was when a seagull dived for me, and I just stood there looking at it like, the fuck? What you chatting? That's funny. There was another one in someone's garden further down. Poor unfortunate souls. But but they're just the baby seagulls are stupid, and the adult seagulls are annoying and abrasive.
Oh yeah.
So we have that to deal with this year again.
Yeah. And we're not living by the coastline, just saying.
Oh yeah, we don't even live that close to a lake. Like
No.
you can't. We have a babbling brook, and that's about it.
Yeah.
There is a pond, like a goldfish pond,
Yeah.
that is not really a pond size. It's like one that you'd see in your back garden.
Yeah. That's the closest water they have here.
Yeah, and they're not even nesting it. In fact, they don't nest near it, because where we lived before, which was right across the road from this little brook area, there was nessicas. They were on the back whenever we would give bread to the ducks.
Yeah.
That were in their appropriate location.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there wasn't was it ravens? The ravens?
Yeah. Right.
They would basically get the seagulls killed.
Oh yeah. It was quite. I never seen a raven attack a seagull, but literally.
We've seen it twice this year so
Yeah.
far, haven't we?
Yeah. They just shows how powerful the ravens are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just the ravens. Once the other birds, so the ravens in this area, they're kind of like the magpie and the blackbirds and the crows sort of protectors. Like when we say ravens, are you thinking of the big ones? The big ones?
The big ones.
Yeah. The ones that harassed me. For my
Oh no.
asking.
That was not even the raven.
Don't even. That was terrifying.
That-
Far too big. Anyway, when so the ravens around here, they are sort of like the watchers, minders, carers of blackbirds, crows, magpies, and ducks.
Yeah.
And seagulls seem to not give a shit about any of that. But they do give a shit when the ravens get pissed off with them and start literally attack. You can see them flying. You only know something's going on because every bird is going fucking nuts outside.
Yeah.
And they'll literally be attacking them in the air.
Oh yeah. Literally breaking their neck in air.
Yeah.
Not.
Wasn't there quite last year? No, not last year. The year before, there was a spate of seagulls dead on the road,
Yeah.
and that was because the ravens were basically chasing them into the road when there was a car or a lorry,
Yeah,
mainly
yeah.
a lorry.
Yeah.
Didn't you say you saw one?
Yeah.
Like literally, you were sat there and you just dunk.
Yep. It
Like
was
we
feathers.
laugh, and if you like seagulls, I'm sorry for you, but we don't like seagulls.
Especially not this man.
No. Anyway, on that note, we're gonna go. Apologies for the ranting. I kind of took over on this one, didn't I? I'm sorry.
He's okay. He's okay.
You're very gracious. Anyway, we're gonna get going. If you have any comments or anything, leave them below. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. It helps out the channel. And yeah, stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, and don't eat yellow snow.
Pet the cat and beware of the seagulls.
Car beach. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.